Hey, campers. It is the 17th day of the Clapocalypse. Hopefully, you're ready for some spooky content today because Bailey Patterson and Marcus Viney have returned with part 2 of their terrifyingly brilliant series, Chronicles from the Crypt. I'm your camp director and host of the One Clap Speech and Debate podcast, Lyle Wiley. Today's ep might just give you nightmares, but hopefully camp is giving you some excitement for the new speech and debate season just around the corner. Quick reminder, check the One Clap socials for today's social media challenge. I just got even more camp stickers and magnets, so be sure to engage and I'll reach out to get you some camp swag at the end of the Clapocalypse. With us today, our camp alumni and good friends of the podcast, Marcus Viney and Bailey Patterson. Marcus Viney is head coach of the speech and debate program at Cheyenne East High School, where he's been coaching for 10 years. He has master's degrees in philosophy and English from Colorado State University. He currently serves as the district chair of the Hole in the Wall District for the National Speech and Debate Association. Marcus has celebrated multiple state and national championships with the East High team and was inducted into the Wyoming Speech and Debate Coach Hall of Fame in 2021. However, he is best known for his local celebrity pug, Junebug. Bailey Patterson is a communication and creative arts instructor at Laramie County Community College. She earned her Master's of Communication from the University of Wyoming in 2021 and recently graduated with her Master of Fine Arts Theater Performance and Pedagogy degree from Texas Tech University last December. She was awarded the National Irene Ryan Acting Award from the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C., and named the 2022 Jane Alexander Emerging Artist from the College of Fellows of the American Theater. She is a former Wyoming State champion in drama, duo, and poetry, and a national semifinalist in dramatic interpretation. She enjoys staying active in the speech and debate community by volunteer judging and coaching. It's time for the thrilling conclusion of Chronicles of the Crypt with Marcus and Bailey.
For our episode, we're going to throw a summer-ween party at our house. It's going to be the greatest thing ever.
Someone will die.
Of fun.
And of murder.
There's going to be root beer, pumpkins.
Bloody goblins.
With fake ones. It's going to be awesome. We have decorations.
Dead people that we just murdered.
Not murdered, but pictures of dead people from TV or movies.
Mutilated bodies.
But fake ones. Candy, dancing, all kinds of food and snacks.
Blood orphans.
No blood orphans. I don't know what that is.
Welcome to the One Clap Speech and Debate podcast, Clapocalypse. This is Chronicles from the Crypt. We're your hosts, Bailey Patterson
and Marcus Viney.
And we couldn't pass up the opportunity to make a Parks and Recreation reference for our new series.
You might remember us from our series Troop Leader Talks last summer. And we're back, trading in our flashlights for lanterns with a very special Summerween series.
Today, we are going to unearth spooky national speech and debate final round performances from the past and analyze what makes these speeches not only amazing for their time, but artifacts worthy of study today.
As we all know, the best way to improve as a speaker is to speak, but the second best way is to watch other people speak. So, we've dug into the NSDA final round crypt and handpicked 4 spine-tingling Summerween-themed speeches to watch, review, and reveal. What made these speeches so spooktacular?
Join us as we dissect legendary performances in oratory, duo, informative, and humor, revealing secrets from each event that can help elevate your own speech.
While we're reviewing speeches from the final stage, watching anyone and everyone you can will help you become a better speaker. In other words, just because it doesn't make the final round doesn't mean it's not worth watching, analyzing, and learning from.
The best speech and debate competitors and coaches recognize the importance of learning from other speakers in the community. So whether you're a fresh-faced novice or just earned your 4th coaching diamond, light your candles and gather round as we unlock wisdom from the crypt.
This is Chronicles from the Crypt, and today we are resurrecting the 2022 informative speech Blood in the Water by Tess Segal and the 2019 humor Killer Halloween, performed by Taylor Headrick. Let's begin with informative.
In this speech, Tess explores the critical role of water in our world, addressing how its availability, or lack thereof, can fuel conflict. She begins by debunking common myths about global water supply and then delves into the commercialization of this basic resource, highlighting how corporations often prioritize profit over access. From sinkholes to water wars, this speech covers impressive, albeit terrifying ground. However, the speech concludes on a more hopeful note, showcasing positive trends and efforts to restore balance and ensure universal access to water.
Now, besides the chilling title, Blood in the Water, the first element of this speech worth contemplating is topic selection. Last episode, we discussed how in oratory, originality often comes from putting a unique or personal spin on familiar ideas rather than seeking out the most obscure topic. This speech is a perfect example of that principle. While the topic of water might seem unexciting or overdone, the speaker shows how it can be transformed into a potent performance. I would be willing to bet that the majority of competitors gearing up to compete in informative this season would pass on the basic topic of water and others like it. However, instead of treating water as a dull subject, she takes us down interesting paths we might not have otherwise considered. A good example is her first paragraph, where she tackles the misconception that water is an infinitely replenishable resource. Rather than repeating basic water cycle science, she personalizes the issue by framing the ideas in a story about how she learned misinformation from her high school teacher, all the while using her voice and humor to make the information engaging and memorable. This approach illustrates that even obvious topics can be revitalized with creativity and personal insight, proving that it's not the topic, but how you present it that truly matters. To prove the point further, my second bet is that the topic of water isn't done yet. My guess is that there will be others that emerge as new events unfold in the world and new information is discovered.
The next standout element to analyze is her use of visual aids. The key virtue here is variety. You'll notice she employs a strong mix of self-created art, like what appears to be oil pastels, along with handheld objects like water jugs and water bottles, and typical to nationals, high-quality printouts. But the lesson here isn't about spending a lot of money to impress. It's about understanding the true purpose of visual aids. Their role, as their name implies, is to aid and support your speech, not to overshadow it. This is why she can use some less polished images without distracting or detracting from her message. Two standout examples of her visual aids include, first, a 5-gallon jug of water representing the Earth's total water supply, contrasted with a tiny amount to symbolize usable water. This striking visual metaphor uses familiar everyday objects to illustrate an otherwise difficult to imagine reality. Second, she employs another visual metaphor with her Hungry Hippos board to depict the chaotic and competitive nature of corporations vying for control over water resources. Most people are familiar with the board game and immediately grasp her point. The bottom line is that good visual aids are less about the cost and more about being thoughtful and effective with what you do have.
The last element to highlight is her use of humanity. A common pitfall in informative speeches is taking informative too literally, resulting in a presentation packed with facts and data that feels more like a textbook than an engaging speech. Tess avoids this trap by making the information relevant to real people. While her speech is about water, she skillfully connects it to broader issues of human access to water. By the end, we realize that her speech is not just about water, but about how the fight for access to this resource impacts real lives across the globe. She uses her final body paragraph to reveal how corporate practices and the push for the privatization adversely affect people worldwide, supported by a striking example. In one Mexican city, Coca-Cola flows more freely than water, leading people to drink more Coke than water. Good informative speeches go beyond mere facts. They illustrate why a topic matters. Tess achieves this by showing us the human side of the issue, effectively persuading us to care about what we're learning about without crossing into overt persuasion. She demonstrates that an informative speech can be both educational and impactful. But it's time to move on to another performance from the crypt.
Something killer.
Yep, that's right. The 2019 humor Killer Halloween performed by Taylor Headrick.
If you haven't watched this humor, you should. And while you're at it, watch the entire final round from this year. It is jam-packed with talent and at least 2 other creepy-themed Summerween humors, Spooky Dog and the Teenage Gang Mysteries, and the national champion of 2019, Kicking and Screaming.
But because it's Summerween Clapocalypse, we have to go with Killer Halloween, a script inspired by classic slasher films like Friday the 13th and Scream, but with a humorous twist. The story kicks off with the murder of a local TV reporter, triggering a series of events that leads the killer to our main character's house, where she's babysitting her grandfather, Gramps. After one of her close friends is killed, she must confront the Halloween killer in a climactic showdown. Will she survive? You'll need to watch to find out.
The first notable element here is characterization, which involves using voice, body, and face to create clear and distinct characters within a performance. In the early moments of her performance, there is so much to learn. A common issue for humor interpretations is the blurring of characters or voices, which can lead to a confusing story for the judge, and in the worst case, make it really difficult, if not impossible, to follow. However, Taylor excels in characterization, passing what we might call the radio mute test. When watching the teaser, she introduces 2 characters that are both hilarious and easily distinguishable. Her skill is so advanced that if you only heard the speech over the radio, meaning you could only hear her voice, you could still identify which character is speaking and follow the storyline. On the flip side, if you mute the video and watch the speech, you can immediately recognize which character she is embodying without ever hearing them. Taylor's use of posture, hand gesture, and surprisingly expressive eye and mouth movements truly shines in the world of humorous interpretation. Mastery of characterization is critical in this event, and Taylor demonstrates this with remarkable work.
The second noteworthy element is her use of reactions, specifically facial expressions. Another common problem in humor is the belief that funny or even inappropriate lines are necessary to make an audience laugh. But often the humor comes not from what characters say, but from how characters react to what is said. One powerful example is near the end when the Halloween killer makes a threatening call to the ditzy character Sue for the second time. As she picks up the phone, the killer asks, "Hello, Sue, remember me?" And she quickly replies, "Uh-huh." Taylor immediately pops back into the killer and reacts with a full, defeated sigh, which conveys multiple emotions and meanings: disappointment that the killer isn't actually threatening, and annoyance at Sue's lack of intelligence. This single, simple moment garners laughs from the audience without any spoken lines. Taylor's performance highlights a key insight into humor and interpretation events more generally. The magic isn't in the script, but in you, the performer. You don't always need laugh out loud lines to make people laugh. It's the reactions and how characters deal with what others say that truly brings out the humor.
Finally, we would be remiss if we didn't highlight one of the most standout moments of her entire performance, the introduction. If you haven't seen it, watching Taylor rap the entire introduction and get the audience to clap along is a must for full effect. We're not suggesting that you should rap all of your introductions or copy her ideas, but the lesson here is that she was not afraid to make bold choices. In humor, the expectations are high and judges are looking to be entertained. It's not just about the decision itself, but the spirit of the decision that matters. As a humor competitor, embracing bold choices without fear of embarrassment is crucial. Just like Amy Poehler says, there is power in looking silly and not caring that you do. Taylor owns the room and creates excitement about her performance, sending a clear message. You are going to absolutely love this. watch me. Put simply, in humor, boldness is rewarded. Other brave choices she makes include the psycho-like knife sound effects for when a character is murdered, and her seemingly impossible transition of "this is Halloween" from The Nightmare Before Christmas, but she does it without even opening her mouth. Without a doubt, this goes down as one of the most fun and killer humors from the crypt.
Well, I think that does it.
Yep, as we wrap up this episode of Chronicles from the Crypt, we hope you've found fresh inspiration in these spooktacular performances.
From the powerful exposure of the corporate takeover of essential resources and Blood in the Water, to the incredible expressive approach to humor in Killer Halloween, it's clear that mastery in speech and debate derives from more than what sits on the page.
Remember, the key to a powerful performance lies in how you present your story as much as in the story itself. Thank you for joining us for the Chronicles from the Crypt series. We hope to see you this season. Enjoy the rest of surviving the Clapocalypse, and we will be back next summer.
Now it's your turn. Yeah, pretty good.
Thanks.
Thank you so much to our creepy crypt keepers, Marcus and Bailey. That was a spooky good time. What's going on in the Clapocalypse tomorrow? Well, Jaden Roccaforte's second episode is up, and it's a doozy. You're going to love it, so make sure you tune in. Remember to check the social media challenges on our socials, and we'll see you tomorrow, campers. Oh, here's something our crypt keepers will appreciate. Did you hear about the guy who was buried alive last week? Yeah, it was a grave situation indeed. For Camp One Clap, this is Camp Director Wiley, signing off.